Hello and welcome to the Game Shed with me, Jamie. Today we're going to be unboxing and showing off the features of this little bad boy here. This is the GPD XD Retro Gaming Gamepad, a 32GB model which I have in my hands here. So first thing to note, we have a very sleek and slick box with very strange text on the back. I'll let you contemplate what that means there. This is the GPD brand, and as I've stated, I am going to be opening this one here, which is a 32GB model. It also comes in a 64GB model too, for those of you who want more memory. So opening up the box here, we get an image of the console device itself and some Chinese text. I have no idea what that means. If you know, please do feel free to enjoy that text. So inside the box itself, you get a USB charging and data transfer cable, very handy. We have a US power brick here for charging. We have the console itself. I'm going to put that to one side for the time being. We have a screen protector for those of you who like a nice clear screen, and an instruction leaflet showing you where all the bits and bobs are on this console. So to the important thing, this is the console itself. Opening it up here, we have a very familiar form factor, which is very similar to the 3DS XL. So on the back we have an L1, R1, L2, R2, micro SD, micro USB, mini HDMI and 3.5mm audio jack. Everything you need to know that's on the outside of this console here. We have a little belt loop on each corner for those of you who like to pop in a key ring or belt holding device, if you will. I won't be using that myself. There's a removable 32GB sticker just on the bottom there, and nothing else really to note about the outside of the device. So opening it up, wow, we've got plenty going on here. Dual analog, volume plus minus buttons, L3, R3, D-pad, X, Y, A and B button, start, select, back, home, controller config button, menu button, stereo speakers and a 5-inch HD touchscreen which outputs in 720. Everything's there, and the layout of the buttons also has square, triangle, circle and X for those of you more familiar with those button configs. These buttons here are all very nicely spaced and very well made. So turning on the console, it's reasonably quick to boot up. So just picking it up here and unlocking, we have a very responsive touchscreen. So here's your home page, if you will, our landing page. We have a number of launchers here, all front ends for emulators and also stores for downloading your ROMs and whatnot. Having a look around a little bit more, you'll see that as soon as you boot up the system, you are actually ready to game, because there's plenty of games built in from various different systems, so you won't have to get involved in the more technical side of this system. But going into the other menus, we've got some built-in Android games here, some basic stuff, and the applications which are inbuilt here. So this is straight out of the box. This is everything you will get with your device. Tons and tons and tons to explore, and there's your settings page. So delving into the console itself here and having a closer look at some of the captured footage. First thing, let's just scroll through some of the gaming options that you get when you first boot up the device. Here's the arcade section, for example. Loads of goodies in there for those of you into your retro gaming, and the N64 selection. It's easy enough to add games to this section here, but we're going to go and explore KO Gamebox, one of the front end launchers. And this also acts as a store, if you will, where you can download games for free. It is quite easy to navigate despite having a lot of Chinese text in there. As you can see, if I go into my games, we already have a load built into here. Loads and loads of big titles in here For example, Burger Time, Adventure Island, Wonder Boy, SNK versus Capcom, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, an absolutely wonderful, wonderful game. If we explore the rest of this launcher here, you can see everything nicely in its categories of sport and action, or game categories, etc., for different franchise games, and loads of settings. This does have multiplayer online as well. So if we quit out of here, just takes a second or two, and we go into another launcher. I'm not going to go too deep into this one, Happy Chick. Those of you familiar with these emulation devices will also be familiar with this launcher here, but I'll show you some of the games that came built in with the device in this launcher. There you go, you can see tons and tons and tons of good titles, and they all emulate amazingly, absolutely amazingly. You'll be able to save your games and whatnot and pick up where you left off when you play these. Moving away from Happy Chick, here's some of the Android games. You can remove these if you want to, but the applications are where this thing really kicks off and gets fun. Because it's an Android device, you can do pretty much anything you want. So I'm going to go into the GameSum front end. This is one of the best things to put on your device, and this is something I just downloaded and installed myself. It's a front end for all of your favorite emulation applications, and it looks rather pretty. So I'm going to be showing you some gameplay of various systems. So if we go into Sega Mega Drive, for example, you can download all of your covers for your games and have it looking really smart. Look at this. Do you remember some of these titles, some of these boxes? So let's boot up Gunstar Heroes. Gameplay is absolutely phenomenal, absolutely fantastic. It's quick, the screen is top of its class, it's really bright, really vibrant. If you don't like the 4:3 aspect ratio, you can make it full screen, 16:9. Also, if you plug in an HDMI, you can output this on your HD television. So going into the Turbografx 16, let's find a game and show you the output of this. New Adventure Island. This again, an absolutely fantastically emulated console here on the GPD XD. Really bright, really vibrant, really nice sound, really colourful, absolutely wonderful. I know not a lot of people had this console growing up, so an absolutely fantastic way to explore that game's library. Really wonderful, chunky graphics. I love it. Backing out of that and into the WonderSwan. For those of you a bit more experimental with your gaming options, this is a console you should definitely check out. You'll notice here on the WonderSwan, it looks a little bit blurry, a little bit smoother. That's because it has applied a smoothing filter. For those of you who like your corners a little bit smoother, you'll notice the rest of the footage in this video is a bit more chunky. That's because there is no smoothing filter applied, but you can apply all sorts of filters on your GPD XD. It's up to you, however you like it. If you like it with scan lines, you can put scan lines on, whatever you feel like. Here's a classic Golden Axe. Away from the WonderSwan and into the N64, and we'll check out the classic Mario Kart 64. This one emulates amazingly on this device because you have the dual analog sticks as well. You'll spend a little bit of time configuring the controller, but Absolutely no textures dropped, nothing at all. This emulates 100% perfectly. It's amazing on every game I've tried so far. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant to have the N64 library on the go in your pocket. Away from that, onto something a little bit more complex to emulate, and that's the NeoGeo. I was worried about this when I installed the emulators on the GPD, but as you will see, absolutely no trouble whatsoever. Let's boot up Metal Slug 3. Bright, chunky, colourful, amazing sound. A brilliant, brilliant arcade game library on the NeoGeo. Definitely, if you're getting this console, I'd recommend popping on as many NeoGeo games as you can. Very, very easy and quick to set up. Get involved in this catalogue of games for sure. So on to some arcade action here. And I've only got a limited selection because I've only got around to popping these games on. But we're going to try R-Type Leo here. Again, absolutely flawless. The gameplay is exceptional. Obviously, this isn't the most demanding of arcade titles, but it's a game I love and it plays absolutely perfectly. You might want to spend a bit more time exploring arcade emulation on the device. I haven't spent too long, but it's definitely something that I will be doing in the future. So backing out of that and just trying an emulator from the emulation app itself rather than the front end, we're going to go into Rycast and explore some Dreamcast emulation. So I've loaded in loads of games here and we're going to try Power Stone. Immediately I was very, very impressed with the emulation of Dreamcast on the GPD. As you can see, it's pretty much flawless. Not all Dreamcast games do emulate very well, I will admit that. However, of all of the ones I've tried, I have had zero problems. How fantastic is this? Absolutely gorgeous gameplay. This is stunning. Absolutely stunning. What a great game. So in summary, the GPD XD has an amazing form factor we're all familiar with in the shape of the 3DS XL. The performance is exceptional, really powerful machine. It excels in most emulation. We are Android based, so we will be able to put on all our favourite apps and games. The display is one of the brightest on the market, really responsive touchscreen, and the build quality is fantastic, no loose buttons. There's only one drawback however, and that's the price. It is a little bit expensive. So if you want yourself your own GPD XD 32 or 64 gigabytes, remember to head on over to funstockretro.co.uk and at checkout do enter the code TGS for a discount. So thanks for watching everyone, remember to hit the thumbs up button, and until the next time, see you later.